I'll tell you what. I was there last night, and it was fun. Wemby is so big. He is so long. And Alperen Sengun just said, "Oh, you ain't coming to my house. You ain't doing this here."
I was worried after the very first play. Alperen backed him down, took a little right-hand jump hook. Wemby tipped it, came back down, and hit a three-pointer. This is after he had already hit a two off the glass.
Yep.
And he had the first 5 points, and I'm like, uh-oh. This is not good. This is not going to be good for Alpy. But
And then Alpy had 30-some, and he still had 10.
yeah, and then the Rockets really made it a point to lock him down. My kids couldn't stop talking about how they were taking it to him, how they game planned him out with the high screen and roll stuff, where they, both of my boys were so excited about how the Rockets were going right at him. And I guess at one point, Ryan Hollins made a comment about how, earlier in the year, Wembanyama made a basket or something like that and kind of pointed or kind of made a look or, kind of taunted in a way Dylan Brooks. And you notice Dylan Brooks was guarding him. Now, the Rockets switch everything off, which to me is kind of crazy.
At one point early on, Jalen Green ended up on Wemby.
Yeah, and he hit the little bank shot off because they switch literally everything, which I don't feel like you have to switch it. He's not you can just play. I guess they just don't want to play under or try to play over, and they're not gonna run it up to half court. That's too old school. But all in all, the Rockets did a really good job. You got to put a body on him out in the perimeter and really make him uncomfortable because he doesn't like that. And he's not going to get a bunch of shots around the basket because you can kind of push him out. He's not strong enough. So the Rockets did a great job of being really physical with them. But the story was Alperen Sengun, man, the quarters, he had some monster quarters. And really, 45, he had his career high. And Wembanyama was guarding him much of that time. So he had a career high there. And there was a great play, a great exchange, a give and go, back to a give from Alpy to Jalen Green, back to Alpy on an and one. At one point on the court, you had Cam Whitmore, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, and then they brought in Aaron Holiday. But that was their young line. They had a very young lineup in core, and it got me thinking.
Well, they even had Landale in that rotation
Landale
as
came
well.
in and actually did a pretty good job.
Well, there was a point where those five were on the court, and I'm like, well, how in the hell are we still in this game?
Well,
look at who's on the court right now.
Spurs aren't real good.
No, the Spurs aren't great, but that was one of the most fun games I've been to in a long time. It was back and forth. The Spurs would not go away until the very end. The Rockets, it wasn't a 130 to 129 game.
No.
It was good defense. Both teams played hard.
Both teams are in the lower end of the shooting spectrum.
Yeah.
Look, let's be real here. Neither team shoots well. They're both not playoff teams.
When the Rockets got Jalen throwing up as many threes and Landale throwing up threes, and then the Spurs are throwing up threes as well with them, I'm like, wow, that's NBA basketball.
It was a competitive
but it was a
game
good,
throughout.
hard-fought game. Jalen made a move. Jalen came down with two spin moves, went to the right, and then cut back on the baseline and did a reverse layup that was one of the sweetest plays I think I've ever. I was right under that basket, and it was like, oh my! I jumped out of my chair. He shot 23 times and he had 23 points. Not a great night for him. Not what he's done the last couple of games. Not as efficient as he has been lately. But his athleticism and him finishing at the rim is really spectacular right now. He gotta ease up on the 3-pointers right now. He's a 31% shooter. He's really got to slow down on that. But
you think he's going to?
I don't think so either. I don't think so. But I think maybe he felt early on. It was like, maybe he felt after the last couple of games, hey, I've got to take over. This is my time right now. I'm proving that I should be here. I'm proving that I'm a post All-Star break. He's been fantastic in his entire career so far. But he's got to slow down on the threes. He really does. I don't think he's got any self-awareness on that. He really doesn't. And so Londale too. What are you doing, dude? Why are you coming in and shooting threes? That's crazy. But they looked like I mean, that's the kind of effort I think. That's exactly what Ime is looking for.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks didn't do anything except he was a pain in the ass on Wemby a few times.
Yeah.
That was just, I mean, the intensity that he brings while he didn't bring any points. I looked this up today. Do you know how many points the Rockets have scored this season?
What do you mean, how many points the Rockets have scored?
Well, they average 112.
Oh, what their average per game?
112.8.
Okay.
That's, you know how many points that is? 6,881.
Okay.
Do you know how many points they've given up this season?
No.
6,880.
Okay.
They are zero. The only team in the league that's a zero differential. They have moved. They're 11th in the league in defense now. They've fallen off a little bit.
They're not a 500 team.
They're not they're not a 500 team, and they're 21st in the league in scoring. Mm-hmm. And yet, it feels like, I mean, it feels like they're worse defensively and better offensively than they are, but they're not. I mean, it's crazy. They're almost exact. I mean, that is almost this many games into the season to be a zero differential.
But remember, this is a historic scoring. Like, they're already considering changes to slow the scoring down because it's just not competitive.
Yeah.
Like, the defenses are not competing right now, and the question is, how much of it is the skill level of the players, which I think is very high. They're very good scorers. It's the math that Daryl Morey helped shepherd in, where the understanding of it doesn't matter if you miss shots. It's about pace. Get as many up as you can. Shoot more threes and get more frees. Really, basketball has fundamentally changed. The NBA now is thinking of. I was reading an article where they're trying to think of ways that they can make it more competitive defensively because it's gotten so out of control on the offense. Scoring 60 is not a big deal now for a player. It's already happened like 8 times this year. Players are getting into the 70s. These are things that simply didn't happen in the past. And now it's happening with too great a regularity. So, 108 is not that big a deal anymore. I mean, you need to be in the 118, 120 range, which is insane if you think about a 26-point quarter used to be a pretty good quarter. It's not a good quarter anymore. Rockets are doing that. So that's what they're averaging. Rockets are averaging 26 a quarter. So it feels like it is in any other year. And it's good for the Rockets.
Yeah.
But yeah, league wide, 21st sounds about right. But yesterday was a fun game because you got to see Wembanyama. The Rockets paid special attention to go at him offensively and to shut him down defensively. We had a career game from Alperen Sengun. You saw another little dust up. This is 3 straight games. The Rockets have been in a dust-up, this time with Ahmed Thompson, who was tripped. And so he got into it a little bit. But all in all, it was it was a fun game. It was a game you're supposed to win against a team you're better than. You get to see the Rookie of the Year, and Sengun took it to the Rookie of the Year.
Oh, my God, he destroyed him. Now, Wemby, if you attack him, wasn't Embiid 70 against him? Was Embiid 70 against him?
No, I don't think it was against Wemby.
It was, well... All I know is that the attack mode that Alperen Sengun was in. I know he had his stuff blocked. About 5 times or so, 5 or 6 times. He just kept going at him. Wemby's got to put on weight. Wemby has got to put on some weight. Otherwise, he is going to get bullied in this league like Alperen did. Alperen Sengun last night said, "You ain't come. He had the best game of his career.
Alperen's a thick guy.
45, 16, 5 steals. It was a career high. Most attempts at 32 attempts last night. He was like, this is my house. You ain't coming in here.
Very aggressive.
And the no-look pass to Cam was fantastic.
He's got that little move where he takes you left and then spins you. He can either spin you or spin you the other way. I mean, he's worked with Hakeem Olajuwon for 2 different seasons. You see it in the footwork. It's undeniable. The baseline spin that he has, everything about his footwork, you see that he's worked with Hakeem Olajuwon. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I tell you, when he gets one-on-one isolated at about the top of the key and he starts taking it down, he's got the ball handling to make it work. his teammates space out properly, so he has that ability to take the big. And most bigs can't handle him one-on-one. He's just got too many. He's got too many moves around the rim. You don't really see that anymore a whole lot in basketball. And he's got moves for days around the rim, and he's got good touch. So, fun game yesterday there for the Rockets. If you guys want to jump in, we will certainly do that. 713-780-3776. I tell you what, right now, we don't usually do this, John. Let's get Stanford in here who wants to talk about, it just says Jalen Green trade, because I've got some thoughts on this depending on which direction he goes. What's going on, Stanford? Is it Stafford or Stanford?
Hey, what's this Stafford, man?
Hey, Stafford.
How y'all doing, man?
Good.
I had some thoughts, man, because I'm totally against the Jalen Green trade, but it's been going out, like the rumors have been out here for Jalen Green and Farmer Valdez. Which trade do you think would hurt you personally? I personally think Farmer getting traded off the Astros would hurt me, and I think it would hurt the Astros tremendously, because I think Farmer Valdez will be a Cy Young. Probably he'll win a Cy Young this year. I think he's going to be the best pitcher in the American League. But Jalen Green is 22. He's not even older than C.J. Stroud. Like, why are we trying to trade this guy? So, what y'all think about that?
Well, I think it is. Yeah, Joel Embiid's 70 was against San Antonio. So I think it is Jalen Green a part of a championship team?
I don't think his age matters. It's like, I get it, but if we were also saying this is his fourth year?
This is 4.
I mean, no, it's only 3. It only seems like 4.
No, this is Jalen's 4th year, right?
Dell said 3.
Oh, this is his 3rd year. Oh, it seems like 4, doesn't it? And Alperen.
We got Jalen Green and Justin Fields. Very similar. You think about it, flashes.
Don't win.
They're not competitive in certain areas, but they're ultra competitive in others. It'd be, when I say competitive, I mean Jalen as a runner. Justin as a runner, Jalen as a slasher and an athlete. He's not refined. I'm talking about Jalen Green. His game is not polished or refined. Justin Fields, who only played 2 years of college football, his passing game is not refined. It's the same concern, though. You got to figure out, man, we're getting ready to pay this guy a lot of money. We're going to have to pay him a lot of money. Do we want to get stuck with this contract? Is he the guy? You just don't know yet. So I agree with Stafford. You don't know because of their relative. I would say less about age and more about relative inexperience. Jalen Green did not play college ball, has not played a lot of ball. And I will say there was a time it was so fun watching Jalen and on the lob dunk from Fred VanVleet, on the give and go back to the giver for the and one. There were some moves where I just thought, man, it'd be fun. Man, if Jalen could get this together, this would be fun. And then I remember, okay, this is the Spurs. They're bad. What is this going to look like when you're facing the Nuggets? Well, although they played well against Nuggets. How are you going to do on a daily basis, game-by-game basis against Dallas, against the Clippers, against anybody that's a playoff team? And that's what concerns me. It concerns me about Justin Fields, where I don't know that I'd rather take Caleb Williams and get a pick for him. I think I'd rather move Jalen, but honestly, there are flashes where you say, man, I just wish Jalen was more consistent, had a little bit more polish to his game. I just think when you look at Amen Thompson, you look at Cam Whitmore, and then you look at the contract of Dylan Brooks, which is 4 years. Jabari Smith's not going anywhere. I'm just not sure there's going to be a place for Jalen Green on Whitmore's a more polished offensive player.
You got time, and you're going to. Well, yeah,
you do.
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, that's right, Dal. You're absolutely right, because we were talking about last year. He didn't take a step until the end of the season. He took a nice step, but it's what he does every single year. He's got to play. Listen, Stafford, we can't forget the way that he played in the first half of the season. I mean, I know he's been playing great lately, but you can't. The majority of the games he hasn't been. I mean, he's been benched multiple times in the fourth quarter now. Jabari found himself sitting on the bench because Cam Whitmore was playing so well. It's going to be a conundrum for the team. Are you going to pay max dollars for Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green? until they prove that they can win at the NBA level, which they haven't done. Even, despite getting in some veteran presence, and you probably need some more veteran presence in here, as a matter of fact.